What follows is a sermon that I delivered on a Friday night at a Sabbath service. Please note, the recording was not made on the Sabbath. My friends, I struggled whether to give this sermon tonight. Since October 7th, we have been inundated with news about the massacre, and I've now released 3 videos related to it. I could understand if you felt that you needed a respite, that you wanted to come to shul on Shabbos for some relief. As I said last week, that was one of the reasons why we did not cancel our musical Shabbat. The other reason being that we will not cede control of our souls to the enemy. But this is the sermon I had to give tonight because this is what is filling my heart. I am in pain, and I might increase your own pain tonight, but I cannot keep this to myself. I hope you read the statement by the Indiana Board of Rabbis. I would be the first one to say it was not perfect, but given that many of the board statements are ones that I refuse to sign, this one was pretty good. Let me quote a passage. We are grateful to those of you, our colleagues, who have reached out to us, and we thank you for your ongoing comfort and support. For those who have kept quiet, we who supported your churches and mosques when terror struck your communities must ask, where are your voices? Your silence is both sobering and painful. Painful indeed. Heartbreaking, if you want to know the truth. Recently, at a Jewish solidarity gathering after the massacre, we heard a quote from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Since the massacre, my friends in the Greater Indianapolis Multi-Faith Alliance have posted several things on their website, 5 things approximately, every one about landlord-tenant issues in Indiana. It is worth their attention, but not one word about the massacre. I've posted the Reverend King's words on the Facebook page of the Carmel Interfaith Alliance, a group where I have even closer friends. They did one thing regarding the massacre. They reposted the statement from Carmel Mayor Brainerd condemning it. Evidently, Dayenu, that's enough. But I told them directly, it is not Dayenu. It is not sufficient. Next, the Center for Interfaith Cooperation, who did post a statement. Their statement, should I be saying our statement? Their statement hurt me as much as the silence of the others. I quote, "We, the board and staff members of the Center for Interfaith Cooperation, stand in solidarity as we grieve and continue to pray for the victims of violence in Israel and Palestine. We recognize the profound impact this has had on our local community. We ask that people of good faith affirm the dignity inherent in every human being, and we call on leaders in our community and throughout the world to exercise restraint and to serve as an example for others. This insidious business of moral equivalency demands a loud and clear rejection. Would my colleagues have called on America to exercise restraint on December 8th, 1941? Finally comes the deepest wound of all. A fellow clergyman, a dear friend, a man whom I love, wrote that the following is the path to peace in the Middle East. Quote, peacemaking is the act of disarming evil without destroying the evildoer, the act of finding a third way that is neither fight nor flight, but the careful, arduous pursuit of reconciliation and justice. It is about a revolution of love that is big enough to set both the oppressed and the oppressors free. Here is my written response. You are my brother, and I love you, but your words deeply hurt and sadden me. Surely you must see the moral gulf between Israel and Hamas, between those who burned people alive and beheaded babies, and those who withdrew from Gaza 18 years ago only to be subjected to constant rocket attacks, between those who use rockets to protect their people and those who use people to protect their rockets. Your path is the path when there is conflict between the decent and the decent. There is nothing decent about Hamas. There is no moral equivalency here. And that, my friends, is where I will leave it tonight. Never since the Holocaust were the words of Viktor Frankl more relevant. Frankl wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, that there are only two races of people, the decent and the indecent. The fight Israel fights is the battle between the decent and the indecent, the battle between good and evil, the battle between those who love life and those who love death. I hope and pray that the diary of Anne Frank will continue to be read until the end of time. But as a dear friend of mine recently said so eloquently, we are no longer a nation of Anne Franks. May God bless us with victory over evil, for only then will we see the peace for which we have prayed for so long. My friends, as always, you can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my face, which appears over there, or watch the last video I released by clicking on its icon right over there.